Marcus Webb had signed the settlement papers without reading them carefully. After 20 years in the Terran Defense Corps, all he wanted was a quiet life on a farm in the frontier colony of New Montana, far from the politics and wars that had consumed his adult years. The compensation package promised land, equipment, and what the bureaucrats called a cultural liaison assistant to help veterans adjust to civilian life on mixed-species worlds. He expected a translator or maybe a retired soldier like himself. He did not expect to find a cage in his new barn. The structure was crude but functional, built from starship hull plating and sealed with a military-grade lock. Inside, huddled in the far corner, was a female alien whose eyes reflected the lamplight like mirrors. She wore tattered remnants of what had once been formal robes, now stained and torn. Her skin emitted a faint blue glow, and elegant ridges traced intricate patterns across her forehead and down her neck. She was small, barely reaching his shoulder, and trembled visibly when their eyes met. Marcus felt his blood freeze. He recognized the fear. He had seen it in civilians caught in war zones, in refugees fleeing bombardments, in prisoners of war who expected no mercy. He carefully set down his lamp and raised both hands. "Easy," he said quietly, though he doubted she understood English. "I'm not going to hurt you." The lock required a biometric scan keyed to his thumbprint. His stomach twisted with realization. This was deliberate. Someone had placed her here intentionally, locked her in his barn, and only he could release her. The settlement authority had known exactly what they were doing. Marcus pressed his thumb to the scanner. The lock clicked open. The alien's luminescence flared, cycling through patterns that might have been communication or panic. She made a high, melodic sound edged with terror. When he opened the cage door, she did not run. She simply stared, waiting for what came next. "Come on out," Marcus said, stepping back to give her space. "You're not staying in there." She remained still, her eyes tracking his every movement, expecting a trap. Marcus sighed and turned to the barn doors, opening them wide to let in the cool evening air and the amber light of New Montana's sunset. Then he sat on a hay bale near the entrance, positioning himself between her and freedom. "The doors are open," he said, gesturing toward the outside world. "If you want to run, run. I won't stop you." She stared at him, then at the open door, and slowly crept out of the cage, moving cautiously, graceful despite her fear. She edged along the wall, keeping maximum distance until she reached the doorway. Framed by the twilight, she looked back at him, confusion replacing some of the terror. "I don't know who put you here," Marcus said softly, "but I didn't ask for this. I don't keep people in cages." She tilted her head, her mirror-bright eyes studying him. Then, unexpectedly, she spoke. A melodic voice layered with harmonics humans could never replicate, ending with a questioning lilt that needed no translation. She was asking why. Marcus spread his hands helplessly. "I don't understand. I'm sorry." She pressed a hand to her chest, gestured at the cage, then at him. The meaning was clear. Why the cage? Why had he freed her? "I'm Marcus," he said, pointing to himself, then at her. She hesitated, then made a sound that might have been a name. Marcus caught something like Lyra in the melody. "Okay, Lyra, come inside the house. It's getting cold." He walked toward the farmhouse without looking back. After a moment, he heard her footsteps, cautious but following. The house was sparse, mostly unfurnished. Marcus had arrived only 3 days earlier, spending his time setting up automated farming equipment. He lit the fireplace, put water to boil, and moved around the kitchen while Lyra watched from the doorway. "Are you hungry?" he asked, pointing to the food supplies. She did not answer but observed intently. Marcus prepared 2 portions of dried rations from his military kit, adding hot water. It wasn't gourmet, but it was familiar and filling. He placed one bowl on the table and sat with the other. Lyra approached like a cautious cat, sniffed her bowl, and took a tentative bite. Hunger overcame suspicion, though the food was not to her taste. They ate in silence, watching each other. Marcus tried to piece together how they had arrived at this moment. She was clearly important. The remnants of her robes hinted at wealth and status, and even terrified, she carried herself with authority. "Princess," he said suddenly, recalling the settlement papers mentioning alien dignitaries. "Are you a princess?" Her reaction confirmed it. Her luminescence flared, and she made a rapid series of sounds filled with meaning even without shared language. Marcus leaned back, processing the revelation. Someone in the settlement authority had caged an alien princess, and assigned her to a human veteran as a cultural liaison. The implication made him sick. This was not about cultural exchange, it was trafficking disguised as bureaucracy. "They're not getting you back," he said firmly, though she could not understand. Over the following days, they established a routine. Marcus worked the farm, planting crops and setting up irrigation, while Lyra observed, gradually approaching and showing curiosity about his technology. When he demonstrated the automated harvester, she examined it like an engineer. Communication improved through patience. She taught him words in her language, correcting his pronunciation, while he showed her objects and actions to build a basic vocabulary. Her name was indeed Lyra, though its full harmonic complexity was beyond human reproduction. She came from Valyria, a civilization conquered by the same forces humanity had fought. She had been royalty, third in line to a throne that no longer existed. When her world fell, she was taken as a prize, passed from victor to victor, and ended up in the settlement program, Marcus explained, anger finally surfacing. "They thought I would want this. They thought any of us would want this." Lyra watched him with those mirror-bright eyes, understanding his fury even without language. She reached across the table and placed her hand on his, a gesture needing no words. She was thanking him for seeing her as a person, not property. Winter came to New Montana, bringing the first inspection from the settlement authority. Marcus met the bureaucrat at the property line and informed him that Lyra had disappeared into the wilderness the first night. The man was unsurprised, noting the event on his tablet as if Marcus should request a replacement. "No replacement," Marcus said coldly. "I don't need assistance." Inside, Lyra waited in the root cellar until the bureaucrat left. When Marcus returned, she emerged into the light, her trust in him now complete. Spring brought news from the galaxy. The war was shifting, old alliances broke, new ones formed. Valyria was in the headlines. A resistance movement had emerged, led by surviving members of the royal family. Lyra wept, her luminescence pulsing with joy and grief. Her family lived, and her world still fought. "We need to get you home," Marcus said. She shook her head, speaking careful English she had been practicing. "First we free others. Many others in many cages, then home." Marcus smiled grimly. He had thought his war was over, that he could retire to a quiet farm. But after 20 years of service, he had learned one truth. The war is never truly over until everyone is free. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.